Blackbeard, Thomas Tew, Mary Read, and Bartholomew Roberts are some of the most well-known pirates of the 17th and 18th century. Throughout their villainous lives, these pirates stole, killed, and swindled their way to the top. However, their lives were shortly lived, as all four of these pirates paid for their crimes with their lives. This was often the case for most pirates, as a life of piracy essentially put a target on your back. Typically, the only way out of this life was through death. However, there were a rare few pirates who avoided this fate. Such an example is Captain Henry Avery, or Every as he is sometimes called. While many may not be familiar with this pirate, he is perhaps one of, if not the most successful pirate to ever live. While Avery's accumulation of wealth is ultimately what led to the nickname the King of Pirates, what really led to his rise to fame and legendary status is one day he just disappeared without a trace. What happened to Captain Henry Avery is ultimately a mystery. As usual, before we start the video, I'd just like to say thank you for watching, and if you can, hit that subscribe button, as it would help out the channel a lot. The CBU Historical Society is not a big society, and we don't monetize any of our videos. Therefore, that means that all these videos are made for purely educational and entertainment purposes. Avery's backstory is rather vague, as not much is known about him prior to his life as a pirate. It's said that he was born on August 20th, 1659, in Devon, England. While little is known about his early life, scholars do know that he was the first mate of a ship known as the Charles II in 1693, and a year later, in 1694, led a mutiny to become captain. The mutiny was a success, and Avery set sail for Madagascar after renaming the ship the Fancy. By 1695, Avery has made his way to Madagascar. That same year that Avery had arrived in Madagascar, he would go on to orchestrate a heist, one that would change his life forever. This heist was known as the infamous Gungsway Heist. Avery got word that the Mughal Empire's fleet of ships was about to set sail back to India, so his plan was to intercept the fleet in open waters and ambush them. After some time, the Mughals figured out Avery was on their tail, so they quickly scattered the fleet. But Avery caught up with the lead ship, the Grand Mughals' flagship, the Gungsway, then quickly boarded it. Avery's men killed most of the Gungsway's crew, and those that did survive were left adrift to die. Reports indicate that many female passengers threw themselves overboard or committed suicide to escape the trauma they endured. While Avery's crew made short work of the men, the women were not so lucky, as they were repeatedly violated. Despite being the Grand Mughals' flagship, he was not on board. However, there were a mass amount of jewels and wealth that were able to be taken. Avery's crew were said to have looted anything from 320,000 to 600,000 British pounds, which is roughly equivalent to tens of millions of dollars today. This heist would go on to become one of the biggest pirate heists in history. The Gungsway heist was sure enough to attract enough attention to put a target on Avery's back. So, after the heist, he sailed to the Bahamas, which was friendly to pirates, and divided the income among the crew before handing over his ship, the Fancy, to the local governor as a bribe for safe passage. After some time, word got out what had happened to the Gungsway. The Grand Mughal, Aurangzeb, was furious. To ensure trade agreements, Aurangzeb and the East India Company issued a worldwide manhunt for Avery and his crew. A target was now painted on Avery's back. So, instead of doing what most pirates would do and ignore it, Avery disappeared. He became a ghost. Scholars believe Avery either sailed to Scotland or Ireland under the alias Benjamin Bridgman, but from there, his fate is unknown. There were rumors of his whereabouts, though. Some say he died, others believe he took his loot and lived the rest of his days on a small tropical island. One romanticized theory even claims he set up his own pirate colony off the coast of Madagascar. Many question if this was the fabled pirate colony of Libertalia, but there is no evidence to support this. If you're a gamer and think that theory sounds familiar, you're right. That's because it was featured in the 2016 video game Uncharted 4: A Thief's End. If you're like me and love Indiana Jones and the Goonies, then I highly recommend checking this game out, as it's probably the best game I have ever played. It has it all, from action to suspense, intricate puzzles, and best of all, a fantastic story.
Libertalia. Libertalia!
But I digress. One last theory regarding Avery's fate is a rather bleak one, but probably the most realistic. The theory claims that Avery actually made his way back to his hometown of Devon, England, and actually died a very poor man. If this is true, it would explain why his grave has never been found, as he was too poor to afford one. That said, what do you think happened to the King of Pirates? Do you think he settled down on a tropical island and drank booze to the end of his days? Or do you think he died penniless on the streets? Perhaps you're one of those individuals who believe he actually could have started Libertalia, like Uncharted 4 suggests. Feel free to comment below. Alright then, that wraps up this video. Thank you so much for watching, and if you can, please hit that subscribe button, as it would really mean a lot. See you next time.